In the field of experience design, there is a central question about which there is no total agreement. What exactly is an experience? This is by no means a new question. After all, philosophers for centuries have explored how we come to experience the world around us. The idea of what an experience can be, therefore, is very complicated. It hasn't been settled by some of the greatest thinkers, and we're not going to settle it here today. But one of the things we can do is explore, how do we even define an experience? I mean, how do we think about, when do we have an experience? What does an experience evolve? Without getting into all of the philosophical debates around this question, we can look at a rather simplified definition. And that is practical contact with an observation of facts or events, or encounter or undergo an event or an occurrence. Wikipedia tells us that experience refers to conscious events in general and understood as a conscious event in the widest sense. Experience involves a subject to which various items are presented. Given how broad these definitions are, therefore, it's not terribly surprising to find a range of disagreements in experience research and experience design in terms of how we even begin to view experiences. And before we can talk about either researching an experience or designing an experience, we first have to have a sense of what an experience can be. How do we define it? How do we approach it? How do we know it when we see it?
Cheap-ass binoculars.
There are two general schools of thought regarding how to define experiences and experience design. First, there are those who think that an experience needs to be something that is memorable, involves some kind of wow factor.
Wow.
Be something that strikes us, that we notice readily. It's something that's curated and staged as a product that leaves a kind of lasting impression. Another school of thought is that everything we encounter in our lives is an experience. An experience doesn't have to be memorable to happen. The fact that we are experiencing the world through our senses makes everything that we come into contact with an experience. We're always in the midst of having experiences, whether we know it or not. I believe that everything we encounter during our daily lives is in fact an experience. Because we sense it, because we're in the midst of it, we are in fact experiencing it. However, not all experiences, not all things we experience are of the same type. Rather, we should think of experiences as being different kinds of experiences, each having their own quality and characteristics. So, to think about how we categorize and conceptualize different kinds of experiences, I created a framework of 4 different types of experiences. These include mundane experiences, mindful experiences, meaningful experiences, and metamorphic experiences. I always like alliterations. I think they are easier to remember, and I feel kind of proud when I can think of words that all begin with the same letter. Let us take a look at each one briefly to talk about what makes them different, how we should categorize experiences into one of these 4 buckets. Mundane experiences are those everyday kinds of experiences and situations that we, frankly, don't think much about, but form the bulk of our lives. Most of what we encounter are mundane experiences. We don't think about them, and thankfully we don't have to, because if we thought about everything we're doing all the time, that would get pretty exhausting. If we noticed everything going on around us, that would be a problem, because we just couldn't go about our day in a carefree manner. We would have to constantly engage in all the matter of material that is surrounding us at every particular moment. Sounds horrible. When I'm thinking about most basic parts of my life, I really don't want to engage with them. I just kind of want to do them. I want to move along and not think about them at all. The more I have to think about stuff, the more I have to think about these mundane moments, usually the worse my day is going. The more I'm thinking about things happening, the more I'm noticing them, the more problematic they're probably becoming for me. So mundane experiences aren't noticed, but they are important. They allow us to go through life in a patterned, easy way without really drawing attention to any one particular thing. Mindful experiences are situations in which we actually become engaged and aware with what's happening around us. To be mindful is to direct all of our attention and awareness to what we're doing at that particular moment and all that's entailed in doing that thing. We become conscious of it. We focus on the moment. We stop to take in what's happening and all the elements that are involved. We are paying attention. It's something that we're taking in actively because now we're focusing on those elements of the experience. Being mindful has a lot of different benefits. It can help our overall health and well-being. We can find it helps with things like depression and other challenges to our mental health. We can develop a kind of thankfulness and gratitude for the little things that we encounter. We might make better decisions regarding our health. We might think about what we're eating. Our mood can improve. Our stress and blood pressure can be reduced. So there's a lot of benefits to being mindful. And to be mindful, we simply have to engage with what's mundane. We have to think about it. We have to pay attention to it. We have to be conscious of it. And it's that movement from mundane to mindful that frankly makes it a different kind of experience. Meaningful experiences are those that have some kind of emotional resonance and importance to us. They can have that resonance for any number of reasons and in any number of ways. There's not a formula to be meaningful, and people are going to find different things meaningful where others are going to find them meaningless. How it resonates, therefore, can be exceptionally personal and have a different impact on us all. There is some kind of importance to what's happened, either at the moment that it did happen or later when we're thinking about it and reflecting on it. We might think of these moments as magical if they're good, or frankly horrible if they're bad. The point is, there is some kind of emotional element to these experiences that make them more meaningful. Now, obviously, meaningful experiences can matter a great deal. In fact, many companies try to figure out how to create meaningful experiences for their customers and for their clients. We want people to have emotional connections with the things that we create. We want them to matter at a deeper level. We want them to matter in really deep ways. We want people to feel moved, to feel something deep inside of themselves. Through these moments, people can feel a sense of purpose, a greater sense of connection. They can create an identity around these experiences, especially when these experiences are shared with others. It's the emotion related to these experiences that makes them meaningful, whether meaningful in a good way or meaningful in a bad way. And so moving things from mindful to meaningful means that not only are we aware of them, but that awareness results in some kind of feeling around them. There's this emotional element that makes it really strongly resonate with us. Metamorphic experiences are transformational, causing some kind of evolution in ourselves. Metamorphic, to be metamorphic or metamorphosis, refers to a kind of change in form. A thing becomes a different thing. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Coal can change into diamonds. Seeds can grow into being plants. And all around us, all the time, things are becoming other things. Things are undergoing some kind of metamorphosis. Sometimes these transformations can take a lot of time, like with coal becoming a diamond. It can take centuries. Rock changing in its form to become a different kind of rock. Other times, these transformations can happen in moments. They can happen really suddenly, really quickly, and really unexpectedly. And when those moments happen to us, we become different people as a result of those experiences. We are changed because of them. We become different people. And sometimes those experiences are planned. We might take a trip where we explore a new place. We challenge ourselves in new ways by doing something we never thought we could accomplish. We embark on some kind of personal journey to transform who we are and become, frankly, someone new. There is a line where the old self falls away and the emergent self is born. Also, transformational experiences or metamorphic experiences can be unexpected. Something happens that we didn't think was going to happen that irrevocably changes who we are. A tragedy occurs. Something significant happens all of a sudden where it leaves a deep imprint on us and we see the world differently. Whether it was something planned or something that just happened, in either case, what we are, who we are, no longer exists. And part of that experience design, when we're designing transformational experiences, is how do we facilitate that change? How do we make that person achieve something new, ideally, of course, in a good way? A big part of experience design and thinking about different kinds of experiences, to what extent are they remembered? Are they memorable? I mean, in fact, all types of experiences can be remembered. It just might take a little bit more work to remember them. We can recall something mundane that happened, but it's going to take a lot of effort. When things become mindful, they can be remembered more because now we're engaged with them, we're thinking about them more. Meaningful experiences are definitely more memorable because they have an emotional component to it. There's some emotion connected to what happened. Metamorphic experiences are perhaps the most memorable because they have a lasting impact on ourselves and our lives. We can remember the moment that we changed and became something new. And then as experienced designers, the key question we need to ask is, what kind of experience are we trying to design? Mundane, mindful, meaningful, or metamorphic? If I go to the grocery store to buy something, I probably want it to be pretty mundane. I don't want it to be that memorable in any significant way, and I definitely don't want it to be metamorphic. I don't want to remember what happened. I just want to get what I want, get out. And if I do remember something that happened, odds are something bad happened, like someone took up the entire aisle with their shopping cart, or there weren't enough checkouts open, so I had to wait a long period of time.
You can't put eggs at the bottom. What is this, your first day?
And while meaningful and metamorphic experiences might be really cool, not everything needs to be either of those things. We can be perfectly happy with mundane or mindful experiences. But at the same time, if people are looking for a memorable experience in a significant way, then we want to go and look at how do we create meaningful and metamorphic experiences. So then, when thinking about design experiences, we need to first think about what kind of experience are we trying to create. When we've established what we're trying to create, then we can start to think about what makes those experiences what they are and how we can design them to create what people need, what they're looking for, what they want, and also what we're trying to give them. Do people need to be transformed, or is it something we want for them? Maybe they just want something mundane, and that's okay. Likewise, if they are looking for something metamorphic or meaningful, then mundane's not going to do. Whatever we do, we have to know why we're doing it and pay attention to the elements and features that make it what it is. And ultimately, we need to remember, while everything might be an experience, they are, at the end of the day, experiences of very different types, and we need to think about them and treat them in the way that they were intended.